Conversations with Iris. Here's your host, my loving wife, Iris.
Hola, mi gente bonita. Hello, beautiful people. And welcome back to Conversations with Iris, where every story matters, every voice deserves to be heard. And this is where we lead with love, laughter, and a whole lot of light. I've been telling you guys, it's all about that heart, that corazón. Say it in Spanish, corazón. If this is your first time tuning in, gracias for being here. Yes, you heard that. Gracias. Thank you for downloading, sharing, and supporting this little podcast that could. I'm telling you, we're doing great things. We started from nothing and now we're going to big things. I just love it. And also, don't forget to check out our brother podcast, the Short Desk Podcast. They're doing their thing as well. Every Tuesday, you could catch them on all streaming platforms. And they're over there, they're just raw, real. I just love them. Make sure you check them out. They paved the way for this little podcast that could, okay? And let me just say this. If you're tuning in from around the world, I truly appreciate you. I want to give a special shout out to my European cousins, yes, in Barcelona, Spain, where our beautiful Spanish and language tongue, our mother tongue, first began. Thank you for downloading me. I saw that you guys were downloading some episodes and I love it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Vancouver, Canada, and of course, Cape Town, South Africa. Oh, I'm so honored, so humble. Thank you all for just bringing that rich culture, that love, all the good vibes, all great blessings in just different areas around the world. I just love it. So wherever you're listening from, you just know you're part of this beautiful community full of heart, hope, and just great connections. So I'm super excited. Thank you all so much. So let me tell you guys about my wonderful guest. This is a big, powerful one. This one is for every mom, dad, caregiver, anyone who's ever looked at their child and they're kind of like scratching their head and saying, something is different. I don't know where to start. What's going on with my baby? What do we have here? Our guest today is a devoted mother, a mentor, an advocate for families raising neurodivergence and medically complex children. You guys heard that correctly. Her baby, her son, was born prematurely, but that didn't stop her. That made her begin this decade-long journey through developmental delays, autism, ADHD, and finally a diagnosis so rare that more than only 200 children around the world just share it. And that is TBR1 genetic disorder. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But out of that experience, let me tell you guys something. She founded Collective Wisdom for Complex Kids. Let me tell you about this. This is a wonderful movement and a community just built on helping parents find that little empowerment to find clarity, confidence, and just calm while navigating to the chaos of all the special needs of these children and that parenting that comes behind it. So her mission is to help parents just stop second guessing themselves, find their voices in IEP meetings and therapy rooms, and transform confusions into that advocacy, okay? Advocacy. We love that. With that said, I want to welcome bienvenidos, Michelle Choairy. Welcome to Conversations with Iris. I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, yay. That was an amazing introduction. I need to record that and pass that on to everybody. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I told you, I was like, I'm going to give you the best introduction you ever heard. I guarantee you, you're going to love it, girl.
Oh, I am loving it already. Jeez. I need to copy and paste that and send it to everybody. So thank you. But thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I love it. I love being here. I hope that your listeners will get something out of this today. So thank you.
I love it too. I could already tell this is going to be a good conversation, but I got to start out with an icebreaker. And I got to ask you, I know you're a mama bear, but let me ask you if you could describe motherhood journey into one word today, just one word, not yesterday, not last week, but today, what would that word be and why?
Advocacy. And the reason is because today we went so my son has been in a special school, and today we went to visit another school where he's going to be moving to in December. So I've been advocating for this for like probably over a year, and we're finally
Mm,
here. So that is why that, and it just ties it all together, right? Just because it happened
yeah.
today, advocacy is the word, because now
Mm.
my baby is gonna be in a really good school with a really good teacher, and I'm really excited for him.
And I love that word advocacy because it's strong. It's empowerment. It's something that we need to really hear more of. And I love that. But Michelle, before we dive into like the nitty gritty and all the good stuff behind what you've been doing, I want our listeners to really know who this lady is, who you are. And I want for you to tell us from beginning to end, especially when you went through that transition with your son and being diagnosed with TBR1, that genetic disorder. Can you help us unpack those layers and tell our listeners a little bit about you, your upbringings, and all that good stuff?
Well, we're going to need about 4 hours for that. I'm just kidding.
Cliff notes, cliff notes. Let's go ahead and do cliff notes.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So we were talking a little bit before we got on, and I want to start with this because we're both English speakers as second language. So this is awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
Hallelujah.
I am originally from Brazil, and I came up here when I was 17 years old. I went to college here, and then I worked here, and then I actually didn't get married until I was pretty late in life. I was 36 when I got married, and I had my son when I was I was 40, 39,
Wow.
almost 40. And
Mm.
so it was a geriatric pregnancy is what they call it. After 35,
Are you serious? What?
uh,
Really? Come on
yes,
now.
that's
You
what they
ain't
call
that
it.
old.
No, but
Oh
that's
my
what
gosh.
the OBs, yeah, that's how we are known. Like uh, if you get pregnant after
Hmm.
35, it's considered a geriatric pregnancy. It's
Oh wow.
crazy. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I got pregnant pretty late in life. So I had my baby, when I was close to 40, and he came really, really early. He was only like 3 pounds. He was a tiny little thing, and he had to stay in the NICU. And we went through a lot with him, even before,
Mm.
like, I had to be on bed rest and all of that. And when, we had him, I remember the first thing was he was crying, and I thought in my head, I'm like, okay, he can breathe. So this is awesome. This is so good. I'm already happy. Because at that time, when they're like about 32 weeks, we never know if their lungs are developed yet or not.
Yes.
So we were
Yeah.
right in that little time. Anyway, he did cry, and it was music to my ears.
Mm.
So, we from the beginning we had these challenges, and then we were being followed by, because he was in the NICU, the hospital that I had him, they followed the kiddos for a couple of years. And so every time we would go there, like something was off, like he was behind on something, and we always kind of adjusted for his age, because he would have, like, because he was so young, like he was so little and so premature, we would adjust for things. But then things kind of started like really showing signs of difference. And so I remember just thinking in my head, I know something is going on. And this is like what I call the mama gut. And I tell all of my parents that I work with, follow that mama gut, because something like there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to be right. And there's a fifty
Yeah.
fifty chance that you're going to be wrong. So
Oh
just
yeah.
go and get it figured out. So it took me a little while to actually find somebody who could help me, because people thought that I was crazy. And we started getting different diagnoses. So the very first one he got was called childhood of apraxia of speech. And then from there, things just kind of started escalating. He didn't speak until he was almost 4. And his first
Mm.
word was more. But throughout this time, until he was 8 years old, like there were certain things that just didn't fit. certain diagnosis that I'm like, there's something else here. Like, there's got to be something that's happening here in the background. And so we finally, after a lot of fighting with the insurance company, when he was 8, we were able to do a genetic testing. And turns out, and I was expecting for it to be negative because everything else was negative. A CT, MRI, EKG, all that, all
Wow.
of those tests were negative. So I was like,
Mhm.
I was waiting, expecting a negative call. Well, it turns out that it was positive, and it came back that he had this syndrome. It's called TBR1, and you said it right.
Yay.
And like you said, there's about 200 kids in the world with it. His variant, though, he's the only one in the world that is known for that variant. So there's nobody else that has the same variant that he does in TBR1. So when you say my kid is one in the world, like, he truly is the only one in the world.
Wow.
So when we found that out, I mean, he was only number like 42. So we only had about 40 people that had that. And we still to this
At
day,
that
like,
time, only 42
at that
people, you said,
time,
right? Wow. Okay. And
yes.
what year was this, if you don't mind me asking?
That was 23. 22, actually. 22.
Wow.
December
Okay.
of, yeah, December of 2022. And we were, it was like, okay, now what? Well, exactly. I
Mm.
Nobody knows anything about it. There are no studies. The only thing that we could find was a Facebook group, and it was built by this mom in the Netherlands who is an amazing person. And she started the Facebook group, and there was a website that she tried to keep up. She tried to put all these things in there, but I mean, when you're the first one in, like, one of the first few in the world, like, how do you even go about building a
Yeah.
community for such a rare genetic disorder? So yeah,
Mm.
so that's it. And then we got it, and then nothing really changed in regards to what he was doing and what we were doing with him. But now we know what it
Mm.
was. And one of the biggest things that happened when I got that diagnosis, you're going to laugh at me, but this whole time, I felt guilty. I did something in my pregnancy that caused him to come early. And in my mind, it was like all the Dr. Pepper and the Taco Bell that I ate when I was pregnant with him. I'm like, that just messed him up for his life.
Oh. So do you like spicy food? I take it. It sounds like.
No, it's not even spicy food. But when I was pregnant with my kids, both of them, all I wanted to do was eat Taco Bell and drink
Mm.
Dr. Pepper. I was like, it's got to be this, because my daughter came early too, but but it
Wow.
wasn't
So
as
there
early
must
as
be
my son.
something about Taco Bell then. It must be something going on. Something in the water and Dr. Pepper
Yes.
too. Oh my
It's the
god. I have I have to tell you a secret, Michelle. I gotta just say this. I gotta put this out there. When I was pregnant with my son, it had to be the Taco Bell that had the Taco Bell and pizza together when they were doing that back in the day. But I had my son in 2005, but that was my craving. I'm not gonna lie. It was Taco Bell and Pizza Hut at the same time. So there's something in the water for sure. I don't know what it
for
is.
sure. Yes, yes. So, when it's like, oh my gosh, it wasn't all of
Oh my goodness. I freaking love that. I love that. And you mentioned like trusting your gut. I love that you said that. That's very important because a lot of parents out there are kind of like scratching their heads like, am I going crazy? Is my child, is there something wrong? It's kind of like I don't know. I'm almost tempted to say a grieving or not grieving, but like acceptance. Is there something really wrong with my child? Is he going to grow out of it? And that takes me to like the trusting your gut thing. Like, what helped you just trust your instincts and just go with it when everyone was saying he'll grow out of it, he'll grow out of it? Like, what made you go, with that push?
Oh, girl, this is another one that would be like a 4 hour thing. But here, I'm gonna make
Taco
this
Bell?
quick
No,
and
just kidding.
easy. Yes, exactly. No, so here's the thing. When you find out you're pregnant, no matter what anybody tells you, you have this vision of what your child's going to be,
Oh
like the
yeah.
things that you're going to do. Like for my husband, like our son was going to be an NBA player, you know,
Mm.
and the like the first thing he went to do was buy like a little baseball bat for him. So, and those are the things that, you kind of put it in your head, and, you don't really know what it's going to be like, but you don't, like, it's hard to not have some kind of expectation. So when you have a child and things start going a little different, then I can tell you that usually moms will feel this so much sooner than anybody else.
I
And
agree. I agree.
it is that mama gut. Like, you are
Yes.
going to feel something. And if you feel that, what I'm going to tell you right now is go do something about it. Because like I said before, it's either going to be a yes or it's going to be a no. And for you to be in the middle and not knowing is the worst thing. Also, the earlier you act, the earlier, if your child does have some kind of a disorder or autism or neurodivergency
Mhm.
or whatever you want to call it. My world, I call them complex kids, right? It doesn't matter what they are, they're complex. So if you have, then you have a complex kid. So when you figure that out, then you can do something about it sooner. And early intervention is the best thing that you can do for your child. And so what I'm telling you, mamas that are listening that don't know what to do, they're seeing these things and they're just waiting to see if something is going to come out of it. Don't just wait. Go do it. Go figure it
Mhm.
out. So,
Mm.
and then you touched on something that I want to touch on really quickly because I
Of
think that this is
course.
important. You talked about grieving. And
Yes.
so we talked about the expectations before you have a child, right? And then you start turning into what we just talked about. Things are starting to happen. You got to follow that mama gut. You got to go see what's going on. And then you find out that there is something, and then you figure out that your child is different, that their brain
Mm.
is a little different, that they're not talking just like the other children. They may not be walking or eating the same way that other children his or her
Yeah.
age, are eating. So the view that you had about your child, you have to it's like you have to grieve that. You have to
Mm.
grieve that child that you did not have. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. It
So,
definitely makes sense. It's a guilt also. Kinda like a little bit of a
yes.
guilt, right? You would say?
Yeah. Yeah. So you have the guilt. And then on top of that, you have to be able to let go of those expectations that you had for your child before and create new expectations. And the way that we do that, and this is one of the things that I teach in my Thrive program, is the V, and that's a very important thing. It's the validation. And for this, it's the way that we do this is celebrating the small wins on a daily basis. Because with a child, with a complex kid, those wins are going to be very slow and they're going to be very small wins. And you have to attach yourself to those small wins, or it will be a very dark time in your life and if you're not well, your child is not well. So you have to get yourself to that point.
Oh, and I love that. And I want to hone in on something that you said, because I am really tired of society labeling these kids, "Oh, they're autistic." That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They're autistic. It's like a label that's actually annoying at times, but I like the way
Mm-hmm.
that you presented it, and we need to normalize it. It's a complex kid. That's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
a complex kid. And you talked about doing something about it, early intervention, and creating those
Mm-hmm.
new expectations. That's the thing
Mm-hmm.
that we need to normalize, and celebrating all those wins. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are more of those strategies that just helped you stand your ground? Like, we're talking about IEP meetings, like school meetings and
Oh yeah.
medical appointments. You're talking about the validation process of it, but like school meetings, for one, I had a child that had an IEP. I'm very proud to stand here and tell you, and I know exactly how those meetings go. And sometimes you have to stop the teacher and say, "No, ma'am, that's not the way it is," right?
Mm-hmm.
You feel strong about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what
Mm-hmm.
strategies can you provide for parents out there for these complex kids when they're having those tough meetings or appointments or conversations in general?
So this is exactly what I developed around Thrive. Okay. Because I think that it's not just one answer. I think that there are a lot of things that we need to do. It's not, I can't just tell you one strategy. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you just very quickly what the Thrive means. So the T is for teamwork. And for that, I talk about having a medical team around your child, not just the school, but a medical team around them. So if they are developmentally delayed, then they need to go see a developmental pediatrician. If they have a speech delay or a speech impairment, go see a speech therapist. But you have to have the right team around your
Mhm.
child.
The
Okay,
right care.
that's the
Okay.
T, the right care.
Mhm.
Then you have the H. The H are the help systems, and this is where you would go into, like, you need to learn the lingo, the new language of IEPs, insurance companies, and state funded programs. So you have to learn those three things because you are going to be dealing with that on a regular basis,
Oh,
right? So
unfortunately,
we
yeah.
go into that. It
Mhm.
is. And
Mhm.
I talk about IEPs a lot because I just recently became an advocate, and we're kind of transitioning this whole wisdom for complex kids into what I now call special education concierge. But it's more like we need to learn the language. And so I am teaching more about how to really sit at the table with confidence on an IEP table, how to talk to insurance companies in a way that they understand and that you understand. And then the state funded programs, they're a little bit like a little harder to deal with because they're so different in all of the states. But these things are something that there's no way around it. Then we have the R, and the R's are the relationships. So people around you. How do you explain your child to their grandparents? How do you explain your child to their sibling?
To
And
the
how do you
family, right?
to the family? So we
Mhm.
talk about that. You have to learn, like, how to use the words and explain to them um, what it's like, because people don't understand. They don't. Everybody's going to just say it's going to be okay, and it might not be okay,
Yeah, it
right?
really isn't.
So
They're not dealing
yeah,
with it, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the R. The I is the what I call integration. And the integration means you got to take care of yourself, because if you're not well, your child is not going to be well. So it's about me time. You have to take care of yourself. Then we already talked about the I. No, that's the I. And then we talked about the V, which is validation. So celebrating those small wins. And then the E in Thrive is you do all of this, you are going to see, you can expect the miracle to happen. That's the E. Because then you're
Mm.
going to be fulfilled, and you're going to look at your child in a different way with different eyes, and you're going to have a village around him. So
Mm,
that is
I love
thrive.
this. I love this. I mean, and that's so easy for parents to remember. Thrive. I mean, that's
Hmm.
how genius is that? I have to applaud you for developing such a great processing system for parents that are dealing with these complex kids, you know. And I know that you also is this the 5-step clarity process that you developed as well? Is that the thrive? Or is that a
It's
different
actually
process?
6, right? So yes, but it's thrive. Yes, that's. I think that I put 5 steps somewhere, but it's 6. So, but yeah, but this is it. This is what we do.
Wow.
This is
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah. I teach this in my master classes, and I also now, like I was saying, like I have dug in and I became an advocate, like a special education advocate. And so I attend IEP meetings with parents. And I guarantee you that I will make your child's IEP 100% better than where it was before, because
Mm.
it is really sad. School districts, they give you the bare minimum, and most of the time they don't even understand special education law. And so, and it's a lot to know. Like they don't have education in what is the law, what does IDEA say that we can have, what is FAPE, what is, there's so many acronyms that go with IEPs. And the school districts, most of the time, they don't even know what they're doing. It's crazy, crazy, crazy.
It really
So,
is. Mhm.
and you
It
had
really
you
is.
had one for your child, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes, it's about kinda like reclaiming your being your child's advocate. That's what
Hmm.
you are your child's best advocate, and that's sometimes you have to kinda like teach these teachers. You have to teach them, you know, like, "Hey, this is what's really going on with my child," and all that stuff. So, I love it that you help parents kinda see the everybody thinks an IEP is very negative. It really isn't. It's certain
Hmm.
accommodations that, you know, are put in place for your child to be able to succeed in the school system. But
Hmm.
yes, you are absolutely right. I love how you mentioned that the school system does not give the necessary attention or sometimes the support to help these children thrive, right? To move forward,
Hmm.
which is unfortunate.
Hmm.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. And then, I love how you mentioned celebrating those wins and, helping parents overcome, hey, seeking that help for their child where they're noticed that they have a delayed speech, or they're just not expressing themselves enough. What are some of those creative ways, just for parents out there that are listening, Michelle, that they could celebrate their child's progress? Because we need to have a little bit more of that with these complex kids and have that
Yeah.
joy every day. What would you say?
So I'll tell you a quick story. I promise it's going to be
Tell it.
quick. One day, I packed up the kids and we decided that we were going to go hiking. We had never been hiking before. Okay, ever. Like every time we tried, we would make it to the parking lot. That was like the furthest that we ever got, because there would be a meltdown, there would be fighting, or something would happen, and we wouldn't get there. So one day we picked up and we were like, okay, let's go hiking. So we took our dog and we went. I'm in Southern California, so we went to Santiago Canyon, and I was
Beautiful.
like, then we start, and then all of the sudden it dawned on me. I look behind me, and both of my kids are back there. My husband is holding our dog, and I look back and I said, oh my gosh, we are
Mm,
hiking. We're
mm,
hiking. Do you understand how big this is?
beautiful.
Like, we have never done this before. This has never happened. And so I looked back and I was like, wow. And that is like, for somebody who like they have neurotypical kids, like this is not a big deal. They probably go hiking on a weekly
Right.
basis, right? It's
Yep.
not a big
Yep.
deal. But I looked back and I was like, wow, we are
Mm,
hiking. And then I was like, this is amazing. This is happening. But those are the small wins that you have. That is an example of what it is that I'm talking about when it comes to these wins.
A simple hike. And for anybody who's listening, it's like a hike, but then again, that is a big deal. That is a beautiful thing. Let me tell you something. We are pleasantly plump people. We are big people here. I'm proud to say the plus size girl, and I would celebrate if we were to go on a hike ourselves. I'm telling you right now. So that is a big deal. That is wonderful. And for your son to be able to do that, that's awesome, Michelle. I'm so glad that you brought
Yeah,
that example because it's the little things that just make a little bit different, especially on a child in a child's life, right?
for sure. Because what if you don't celebrate with them? Like, can you imagine how awful and how hard that is? Like knowing, it gets to an age when the kids, they know, they start to notice something is different about me. And so when that happens, you have to make them feel like it's okay. Everybody's different. We're just doing the things that we need to do when we can do it, and however way that you can do it. And you keep pushing and you keep advocating for them. And then things are going to literally, like, the miracle will happen. And you will look at it and you go, I never thought that I would get to this place.
Look at that. The fruits of your labor. Isn't that nice? How far you
For
guys have
sure.
come. Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful. And Michelle, as we transition here to a closure, I want to go back and just briefly just tap into this. Just touch base on this. Where are we at now with TBR1? I mean, you mentioned back in 2022, you mentioned, if I remember, 42 people only had it, 42 only kids. Where are we at
Mhm.
right now? You mentioned that there was a Facebook that was created by a close friend in Netherlands, but where are we at right now? And where can we learn a little bit more about that?
So we are in the infant stages. We are what's called a rare disease. We are so small that really people are not looking at us quite yet, right? So a couple of the moms got together. They did start the TBR1 Foundation, and they are kind of trying to pull things together, trying to, I think that the foundation, their mission is to actually empower the parents and kind of help the parents more so than the scientific side of things. Now, I'm in the middle of trying to figure that out. I'm a go-getter. I do things, as you can
I
tell,
love
like,
it.
I have a medical sales career that for 20 years I'm doing podcasting, I'm doing special education concierge on the side.
Good.
And so I just got together with a couple of other moms, and we're trying to see if we can start something more scientific, getting centers around the country where they are aware of TBR1, where they have more than one or two patients that have TBR1. Right now, we're scattered throughout the world, and we don't really have anyone collecting any kind of data or anything on TBR1. So I am in the process of kind of taking this on a little bit and seeing where it is that we're going to take this, because once we get all the data, once we can put everything together, and then we can start trying to get ready if there are clinical trials coming for genetic disorders, which we're seeing all over the world right now, but then we would be ready for that. And so we are in infancy. Like, we have so much to do. So
Oh,
much to do. But if you want to learn more about it, it's tbr1syndrome.com. Let me just double check if that, just to make sure.
oh, no
But
problem. No problem.
it's, yeah, tbr1syndrome.com. That is the website that we have right now. They are working on changing the website a little bit more, being more informational. But that's where you're going to find about TPR1 for right now.
And thank you so much for sharing that for maybe a listener that's going through that same struggle or just discover that my child or their child had that, has a similar
Hmm.
genetic disorder. So I think that's fairly good. But before we wrap up, you have shared the website. You mentioned again, I want to mention to our listeners right here, it's TBR1 dot, I'm sorry, dot, what is it again? I'm
No,
sorry. I wrote it
it's
down.
tbr1syndrome.com.
Syndrome. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.
tbrsyndrome.com. I appreciate that. I forgot the syndrome there.
Yes.
I put system,
It's
sorry.
okay. Yeah, no,
So
it's all good.
where else can our listeners find you? Because we want to stay connected with you, Michelle. We want to be
Oh,
able
I
to
love
help
that.
kids, join the community, learn about the collective wisdom for complex kids. Where can our listeners find you? Learn more.
So, yeah, so I now, things have become a lot bigger. So it's still wisdom for complex kids because this is the heart of where I started. But now we've developed into special education concierge.com, and you can find us there. It's a little easier too. So special education concierge.com, that's where you're going to find it. And then I want to tell you that for your listeners, if they would like to go on my website and click on book a free call with me, I will be happy to go over any IEPs with any of your listeners. And all they have to do is just schedule a time with me. And I will talk through their IEP and kind of come up with a 60 to 90-day plan on how to make your
Wonderful.
child's IEP a little bit better.
Wonderful. And thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing with us where we could find you, where we could continue to support you. I could already smell it. I don't know how, but I could just smell that you're going to write an awesome book later on down the road. I could see all your foundation progressing and also coming to fruition. So, this is great stuff, what you guys are doing out there.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It's always good to hear that from other people. So I appreciate you saying that.
No, you are definitely most welcome. And to a mother or a father that's out there, if they didn't take away anything from our conversation, what is the one thing or little mantra you want to leave them with?
You're not alone. You are not alone. You do not have to carry this by yourself. That
Hmm,
is what I want people to know, that there
that
are
runs
there
deep.
are other people out there.
That definitely does run deep. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that. And again, I want to thank you so much for sharing everything with us. I mean, everything you just reminded us that motherhood isn't about perfection or fatherhood or whatever it is. It's about preservance and faith and just finding that fierce love. I love that. And I could smell and hear that fighter in you. And that's just how every parent is, right? We just fight, we exhaust all of our efforts to find our child whatever it is that we could do, a cure or some type of support system. So I want to thank you so much for sharing that with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for letting me share the stories. It makes a difference. I think people who listen, they will feel it and they will be able to take this on and realize what it is that they need to do. So thank you for bringing this and having this platform where we can share these stories.
Absolutely. Thank you. And to every parent listening right now, you're not alone, as Michelle mentioned. You're not alone. You are your child's best advocate. And you are not your child's diagnosis. You are their voice, their anchor, and overall that hero that they need. So I want to thank all you listeners across the globe for tuning in and for listening. Make sure to check out TBR1. Make sure to check it out and make sure you tune in to check out what Michelle has in store in the future. Con mucho amor, this has been Conversations with Iris. Thank you all. Besitos and many hugs. Thank you.